Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 165 based on novel. So let's start. The towering mountain peak stands here like the pillar of heaven. At the mouth of the cave at the foot of the mountain, Xiao Yan's eyes are calm. He is indifferent to the thundering animal roars from the depths of the cave. He turns his head and looks behind him. He immediately moves and continues to walk towards the depths of the cave. As the four families, the territory of the Bai family is not small. Now the people of the Bai family and the Hua family are in a ring, surrounding the area where Xiao Yang is, and carefully looking for his whereabouts. Under the current situation, constantly turning around and hiding will only delay the injury in Xiao Yang's body. For a long time, the injury will not turn around, but will become more and more serious. In danger, Xiao Yang can't delay any longer. Depending on his current state, unless he recovers all the injuries in his body, he will be dragged to death by these guys sooner or later. Raw. Human, you really can't die. According to Xiao Yang's state at the moment, the 9-star and half emperor in the cave immediately saw the strength of the former. The 6-star and half emperor was injured at the moment. Entering his cave was undoubtedly looking for a dead end. What he said just now was the last warning, but Xiao Yang was still indifferent, which directly violated the territorial sovereignty of the 9-star and half emperor. Roar. With a deafening roar, a violent vigorous wind swept out of the cave. Then, the void in front of Xiao Yang suddenly twisted, and a light and shadow suddenly flashed in front of Xiao Yang. After the light and shadow condensed, what appeared was a powerful middle-aged man. Judging from his breath, he had reached the level of 9 stars and half emperors. In the nearby mountains, he was also called a king. Man, I don't want to be your enemy, but since you are determined to die, you can't blame me. Get out. According to the strength of the middle-aged man, the black-robed man in front of him is not only a 6-star and a half emperor, but also a seriously injured body. His fist is enough to take his life. The middle-aged man clenched his fist with his right hand and threw a punch at Xiao Yang without hesitation. Faced with such a situation, Xiao Yang's pale face looked calm, and his mind was even clearer. A pair of black eyes stared at the fist that was rapidly expanding in his eyes. Until the fist came in front of him, Xiao Yang bent his fingers and a black light suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Yang. Almost at the moment when the fist was about to fall on Xiao Yang's face, the shadow stretched out and locked the palm of the middle-aged man. For a moment, Ling Lai's fist blew from both sides of Xiao Yang's cheek, blew his hair, and then looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. At this moment, he stared at the sudden terrorist in front of him, with a dull look on his face. This. You. Bang. At the same time, a punch hit the middle-aged man's face. With only one punch, the 9-star and a half emperor, the king of the nearby mountains, was blown out by a blow and hit heavily on the stone wall. The whole body was deeply embedded in it. Looking back and looking at the shadow, it is the North King of Xiao Yan ring. Now, the strength of the Northern King has reached the level of 1-star duty. With all his strength, even the 2-star duty is not easy to defeat. It is naturally easy to deal with a mere half-emperor. Bang! The middle-aged man fell out of the stone wall and fell heavily on the ground. The whole man also woke up in an instant, looked up in a hurry, and his eyes were instantly fixed on Beiwang. His eyes showed fear. Big Lord. This Lord, I little didn't mean to offend. Please forgive me. The middle-aged man hurriedly came to the North King and bowed respectfully to the North King. He was shaking his head. Every time he knocked, there would be a dull collision sound, but the middle-aged man spared no effort. It seemed that he was afraid that the strong man in front of him would be dissatisfied with him. Although he only took Beiwang's fist, the middle-aged man immediately understood that he was not the opponent of the dark shadow in front of him. Just imagine, who can blow up a 9-star and a half emperor with one fist and have this power, in addition to the strong man fighting the emperor? However, because of his fear, the middle-aged man did not dare to look up at the North King in front of him, or even explore the breadth of the latter, which made him unable to distinguish the puppet of the North King in time. Get up and don't kill you. Xiao Yang stepped forward and said in a casual voice. Well. The middle-aged man was slightly stunned and raised his head, but he saw the pale Xiao Yang standing in front of him. Then, when he glanced at the North King behind Xiao Yang, he found that the latter's eyes were empty and seemed to have no soul. Puppet. The middle-aged man was surprised. Unexpectedly, the strong man in front of him would be a puppet. In that case, isn't the young man in black the master of the puppet? Ah! With this in mind, the middle-aged man was shocked and hurriedly crawled down to Xiao Yang again. His body trembled, but he didn't dare to get up again. Come on, get up. If you don't kill you, you won't kill you. I'm looking for you. I just want you to do me a favor. Seeing the middle-aged man kneeling all the time, Xiao Yan felt helpless. Can't these Warcraft animals be so casual in Chengdu? Adults are kidding. Since adults want small help, it is naturally incumbent on small ones. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to perform this time. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, the middle-aged man quickly agreed, and his words were full of awe for Xiao Yang. In this regard, Xiao Yang said frankly, I need to borrow your cave. Someone will come to me later. As long as you can return them, this is yours. Before Xiao Yang's voice fell, the North King behind him took a half-step forward. Suddenly, an extremely dangerous breath quickly enveloped the middle-aged man's heart, which made him feel frightened. Then, when Xiao Yang's words fell, a transparent jade bottle also appeared in Xiao Yang's hands. The moment the jade bottle appeared, a strong smell of medicine filled it. Third-order pill. The middle-aged man was so happy that he couldn't help but cry out. He raised his hands and wanted to take it from Xiao Yang. If you want to get it, you'd better do what I want you to do first. Xiao Yang suddenly woke up the middle-aged man in front of him. He immediately turned his back and collected the pill in his hand. Seeing this, the middle-aged man quickly bowed to his side, raised his hands, made an invitation gesture to Xiao Yang and said respectfully, Your Excellency, please. Glancing at the middle-aged man on one side, Xiao Yang nodded expressionless, moved his steps, and went to the depths of the cave. After a short moment, Xiao Yang has come to the deepest part of the cave. Different from the previous narrow and dark, there is not only a large space, but also bright lights. It is well decorated by the middle-aged man. However, Xiao Yang has no time to pay attention to these. He goes directly to the deepest part of the cave, sits down and turns his eyes. Once again, he focused on the middle-aged man in front of him. I just lend you the cave and don't want to do anything to you. Therefore, I hope you don't play with me. Otherwise, if one of them comes in, don't blame me for being cruel. While saying this, the North King also stepped forward, and the terrible momentum made the middle-aged man tremble. Adults are joking. It's a villain's honor for adults to come to the cold house. How can small people object to living as long as adults want? The middle-aged man was surprised and quickly replied with a simple smile, and his eyes looked at the North King from time to time. This is the reason why he was really frightened. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang refused to comment and sent the latter out to guard the door at will. Even under the protection of the North King, he began to concentrate on refining the pill in his body. First there was the awe of the Northern King, and then there was the temptation of pills. The combination of the two really made the middle-aged man honest. Deep in the cave, when Xiao Yang confirmed that the guy had no other actions, he was relieved and devoted himself to the refining of pills in his body. At this time, the search for hundreds of semi-imperial strong men is also in full swing. This time, the invisible struggle between Xiao Yang and these people will be a tug-of-war. The final outcome depends on whether these people can find Xiao Yang before his injury recovers. Time is like finger sand, which has passed away inadvertently. In the cave, Xiao Yang is immersed in the refining of pills in his body, and those outside finally spread the search scope here. The mountain wind roared like the roar of wild animals, blowing through the mountains and forests. At the foot of the mountain, there was a huge cave. The strong smell emitted from it was dignified. At this time, in the void, 3 middle-aged people in black robes slowly lowered their bodies and looked into the cave. Among the 3, 1 8.5-star emperor and 2 7.5-star emperors, such a lineup is enough to walk horizontally in the mountain range where they are now. Huayun, do you think Xiao Yang could be here? Among the 3, a thin 7.5-star emperor frowned and carefully asked a middle-aged man with the strength of 8.5-star emperor among the 3. When he said this, his eyes also looked at the dark cave intentionally or unintentionally. The guys inside made him nervous. I don't know. Let's look for it first. Didn't we detect a trace of Xiao Yang's breath before, which means that he must be around here. He's looked around, but he hasn't found it here. We'll know whether he has it or not. The middle-aged man called Huayun shook his head, but his voice was quite firm. But the guy here seems to be a 9.5-star emperor. His strength. What are you nervous about? Even if it's a 9.5-star emperor, does he dare to move my Hua family? Besides, if the 3 of us together, we can be afraid of him. The voice of the thin middle-aged population didn't fall. Then Hua Ping scolded him. As soon as his head counseled, he didn't dare to say more. He scratched his head and looked at the hole with a little tension. Then, led by Hu Yun, the three went to the cave first. Before they came to the cave one after another, they approached, and suddenly there was a very strong smell of blood gushing out, rushing towards them. Feeling the strong and disgusting blood gas, the three suddenly changed their faces. How fierce the warcraft must be with such a strong blood smell. Even so, it didn't stop the three people. Before they set out, Hu Ting had given a reward. As long as one of them could find Xiao Yang, they would get 5 third-order pills. How can they be reconciled to such temptation? However, just after the front feet of the three people stepped into the cave, a thrilling animal roar suddenly came from the deep cave ***. Roar. Where do you come from? How dare you break into the king's territory? A roar came out, and in the twinkling of an eye, a powerful and extremely terrible momentum came madly from the depths of the cave and forced the three people out. The three were startled, their steps quickly regressed, and their faces changed. At this moment, the fighting spirit in their bodies gushed out quickly to resist the threat of this momentum. We are from the Hu family, one of the 4 families. We are here to handle affairs impartially and only search for one person. We don't want to conflict with you. Please forgive me if you offend me. Hu Yun's face changed greatly and he was surprised that the 3 of them had just stepped into this guy's territory. How could he be so fierce and domineering? But on second thought, this guy looked like a ferocious man. It's no wonder he had a bad temper. I'm afraid they can't stand it after staying in this environment for a long time. But they didn't know that the reason why the guy inside the cave was so angry at the moment was that he was occupied by Xiao Yang. Although Xiao Yang said he would use the third-order pill as a reward, he still suppressed his resentment. At the moment, the appearance of these 3 people let him find an outlet. Oh, 4 families. Deep in the cave, there was a rather surprised cry. The middle-aged man frowned. He didn't expect that the people Xiao Yang asked him to resist would be the people of the 4 families, which would be some trouble. Hearing the sound from the inside of the cave, the 3 people outside the cave were immediately happy. They thought that this guy was really afraid of the spirit of their 4 families. Immediately, the 3 smiled at each other, raised their feet, and wanted to enter the cave again. Stop. At this time, inside the cave, the middle-aged man shouted. Their hearts jumped and their steps stopped again. Even if you are from the Hu family, you should find out. This is the territory of the Bai family. This mountain range belongs to Laro Tzu. Why should you Hu family go into the territory of the Bai family to find someone? That's enough. I don't want to hear more from you. For your sake, you are also the 4 families. Now turn around and leave here. I can think that nothing has happened. Otherwise, even if you are from the Hu family, don't blame me for being rude. Without waiting for Hu Yun to speak, the middle-aged people in the cave said that they should stop the latter. At the same time, the powerful pressure hit again, which made the 3 people's faces suddenly change. They have felt a strong intention of killing from this pressure. They will not doubt that if they continue to stay here, this madman is bound to be recruited. At that time, they will really have no way to live. In the face of this situation, Hu Ping's face was also uncertain. Who knows that the madman ignored their identity as Hu family? Although they were all high-level and half-emperors, they were useless even if they had more people in front of absolute strength. Although they said that they were very brave, in fact, even Hu Yun was very nervous in his heart. However, with 2 people around him, he deliberately pretended not to be afraid. Brother Hu Yun, what should I do now? On one side, the thin middle-aged man's face was already scared white. However, he had to turn to Hu Yun for help. Hearing this, Hu Yun really wanted to turn around and slap him. But now the situation is dangerous, he had to work together. He thought about it in a hurry. Finally, Hu Yun thought of a way, but he still retreated. Helpless, with the guy in the cave, they bet that they can't enter here. However, when Hu Yun thought about it, he couldn't help laughing at himself, even they can't enter the cave. How can Xiao Yang, who is now injured, get in? Wouldn't he have been slaughtered by the guy in the cave long ago? Then, after bowing respectfully to the dark cave, they hurried away, leaving 3 embarrassed backs. It was only at this time that the middle-aged man in the cave secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the strength of these 3 guys is not as good as himself. Otherwise, if they can't stop them today, when Xiao Yang is awakened, not only they will be finished, but I'm afraid they will not be able to pick up their own life. Before the middle-aged people came to the cave, they looked over the mountains and forests in the distance. Human figures like black rice grains were constantly flashing, as if they were searching for something. However, when they passed by their own neighborhood, they all walked away with great understanding. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man secretly rejoiced in his heart. At the same time, he couldn't help feeling suspicious. At the moment, what is the identity of the black-robed man in his cave, which would attract the Hu family of the 4 families to work so hard? In the twinkling of an eye, it has been a week since Xiao Yang disappeared into the sphere of influence of the Bai family. In this week, the people of the Bai family and the Hu family have searched the whole mountain range. The search range goes from the periphery of the mountain to the core. The above order is to see people alive and dead. Hewiting is still possible. Xiao Yang must still be in this mountain range, but it's a pity, a week has passed. The people looking for Xiao Yang have searched back and forth for more than 5 times, but they have never seen any clues about Xiao Yang again. In the void, the man in black had already left, and Huting had to make a job with the Hui under the oppression of the family. Even many people in the family thought that he insisted on this just to cover up the mistakes in the auction. For a time, Huting, who was not pleasing outside and the wave in the family, was once in a low state because of this, and in his heart, is more determined to find Xiao Yang. At the same time, Xiao Yang, who is in the mountain and in the cave, has recovered almost after a week's recovery. Outside, the strong sent by the Hu family are also transferred back to the family at this time. I'm afraid he won't be sent by Hewiting for the time being. As for the Bai family, their dispatch is entirely to cooperate with the Hu family's behavior. From beginning to end, Bai Ying has never given any order that Xiao Yang must be found. Any action of the strong of the Bai family is left to Hu family. Now the strong of the Hu family has been transferred back, and the people of the Bai family have naturally returned to the family. In the cave, Xiao Yang slowly opened his eyes. Not long ago, he clearly realized that all the people of the 2 families had retreated. Although the situation seemed safe for the time being, Xiao Yang didn't intend to leave. There are always exceptions. If the people of the 2 families left just to catch Xiao Yang, go out now, isn't that right? Besides, Xiao Yang turned his palm and took out a delicate jade box from the ring. What is contained in this jade box is the first auction item that Xiao Yang got at the auction last time, jade bone and fruit. Jade bone fruit can increase the cultivation level of the devourer, and this degree is only limited to the strong half-emperor. Like Xiao Yang, his strength has reached the middle stage of 6-star and half-emperor. Now if this jade bone fruit is swallowed, his strength can be refined again and promoted to the later stage of 6-star and half-emperor. As the same 6-star and half-emperor, the gap between the middle and later periods is like a valley of heaven. With Xiao Yang's current strength, after exerting all his means, he can at most compare with the strong one in the middle period of the ordinary star and Do Emperor. Even for a long time, Xiao Yang will fall into the disadvantage. However, after Xiao Yang swallowed the jade bone and fruit, his strength will increase to the later period of the 6-star and half-emperor. At that time, Xiao Yang can be sure to face the strong in the later stage of the 1st-star emperor. Even if he faces the opponent in the middle stage of the 1st-star emperor again, Xiao Yang can also have the power of a war. Of course, for these, now it is only Xiao Yang's personal guess. As for the real power, we still need to see the power that Xiao Yang can burst out in actual combat. After taking out the jade bone and fruit, Xiao Yang was not in a hurry to devour it. Instead, he thought and called back the middle-aged man who was still honest at the door of the cave with a powerful soul force. "Hihi, my lord, do you have any tasks to send when I summon a Bao?" Entering the cave, the middle-aged man who claimed to be a Bao immediately bowed to Xiao Yang with a smile on his face and dared not be careless in his heart. This time, his eyes did not pay attention to the North King beside Xiao Yang, but Xiao Yang. The soul power of the young man in black robe has reached the level of a 3rd-class herbalist. Even the strong man who fights the emperor should respect him. How dare he be careless? If he can have a relationship with such a person, it will be of endless benefit to him. Here. Xiao Yang threw it away, and a streamer suddenly shot at a Bao. The latter saw it, hurriedly and carefully took it in his hand, and then looked at it. At the moment, what fell in his hand was a round pill. This is 3rd-order pill. Seeing this, our Bao was pleasantly surprised. His eyes showed a deeply excited color. The whole body could not help trembling slightly because of the ecstasy in his heart. The 3rd-order pill, which he dared not think of in the past, now it will fall into his hands. How can he not be surprised? Don't be surprised. It's just your reward for this week. I need to borrow your cave for a while. When the time comes, these pills will be yours, Xiao Yang said casually. At the same time, he raised the jade bottle in his hand. Through the bottle body, he could clearly see 3 round pills, and these 3 pills were all 3rd-order pills. Adults do their best to use as long as they want. Our Bao has no dissatisfaction. The middle-aged man was overjoyed. Xiao Yang took out the pill as a reward. It was too late for him to be happy. How could he be dissatisfied? Our Bao's heart was even more excited when he thought about getting 3 third-order pills. Although many people had wandered around his territory this week, no one dared to come to him. It can be said that at the moment, the pill in his hand was waiting for him. It didn't cost him any effort at all. Now there is such a good thing in front of him, a leopard won't miss it. My request is very simple. It's the same as this week. As long as no one can enter here to disturb me, these 3 pills are yours, and vice versa. Don't worry, sir. No one wants to enter here with a leopard. A leopard will never let anyone disturb you. Xiao Yang's voice didn't fall. Our Bao then opened his mouth. While talking, he patted his chest. He looked completely wrapped around me. He looked confident. Xiao Yang raised his eyes and looked at the latter. His eyes twinkled and non-committal. Although the leopard's strength can be called a strong one in this mountain range, it is only a 9-star and half emperor. It has long been nothing in Xiao Yang's eyes, and it is worthless in the eyes of the people of the 4 families. If Huiting intends to search Xiao Yang, it can't be stopped by the strength of the leopard. Casually ordered a few words, and then our Bao retreated out with joy. Xiao Yang also took back his mind and set his eyes on the jade box in his hand again. Whether you can leave here depends on the jade bone fruit. In a flash, another month passed. In the Hua family, Huiting sat on the main seat of a hall with a gloomy face. Because of the last thing, the 3 elders of his family were banned for a month. Until now, the ban was lifted. In the hall at this time, in addition to the gloomy Huiting, there were many people, all deacons of the Hua family, who had more or less some power in the family. At the same time, they were also the people sent by Huiting to search for Xiao Yang's whereabouts a month ago. I haven't seen you in January. How are you? Huiting glanced coldly at the people present. Each family has its own distribution power. Even if it is the same family, these people do not work together. For example, these people present at the moment are the same as Huiting. As for the eldest and second elders of the family, they also have their own forces behind them. Of course, no matter what the distribution within the family is, as long as it comes to matters related to the interests of the family, these people often fall into one immediately. Hearing Huiting's words, many people present looked at each other, and their faces became embarrassed. They belonged to the same school, but they were indifferent during Huiting's foot ban. This kind of thing is really chilling. I don't want to take care of these things now. I just ask, why do you still haven't found Xiao Yang in the end? You must give me an answer to this matter. One hand slapped heavily on his desk. The terrible force made Huiting's wooden table burst instantly. The faces of the people present also changed suddenly at the moment. 3 elders, we did search the whole mountain range at that time, and we searched it 4 or 5 times repeatedly, but we didn't find any trace of Xiao Yang from beginning to end. Maybe he had left the mountain range long ago. Among the people sitting under the stage, some people hardened their heads and expressed their views to Huiting. That is, at the moment when his words fell, Huiting immediately dropped his dark eyes on the speaker. The extremely cold eyes seemed to freeze people. Anyone who saw this scene under the stage shrank back in fear. What you mean by this is that I didn't check, but I let you go for nothing? Mutter. As soon as Huiting said this, an invisible momentum and pressure emanated from him and quickly shrouded the whole hall. Everyone seemed to be carrying a mountain, especially the man who spoke just now. The pressure on his head was so strong that his whole body was shaking and cold sweat could not help pouring out of his whole body, quickly soaked his clothes. Since I can let you find it, I'm sure. According to the situation at that time, even if the boy won't be seriously injured, he can't easily leave the mountain. But since I can't find it, it shows that you didn't look carefully at all. There must be something you missed in the mountain. Huiting's fierce eyes slowly swept over the people present. After contacting Huiting's eyes, most people looked at each other from left to right with suspicion, as if they were not clear. There were also some meditative memories, as if they were recalling whether they had really missed something in the mountain before January. Just as Huiting's eyes swept away from someone, the eyes he had just wanted to let suddenly stopped, narrowed his eyes, stared at a thin middle-aged man in the hall at the moment. Huiting frowned and asked in a deep voice. Huafeng, is there anything you haven't explained? No. The middle-aged man called Huafeng got up quickly, and his face looked a little flustered. You are so bold. You dare to play more tricks in front of me. I don't think you want to live a stable life. When Huiting criticized him coldly, The middle-aged man looked frightened, and his face quickly turned pale. His eyes looked forward involuntarily everywhere. Finally, when he saw Hua Yun, the whole person's eyes suddenly brightened. At this time, Hua Ting also noticed the change of the latter's expression, and immediately, a pair of sharp eyes fell on Hua Yun. Hua Yun, say, what's going on? If you don't say it, don't do it as a deacon. As soon as he said this, Hua Yun, whose face was already ugly, suddenly became frightened. He knew the meaning of Hua Feng's eyes, which was nothing more than the matter of our Bao's cave. After all, it was the only place they had not searched. Next, under the constant pressure of Hua Ting, Hua Yun was helpless. Only then did he tell the whole story of that day. What are you talking about? A little 9-star-and-a-half emperor stopped the deacon of the Hua family. You also brought 2 7-star-and-a-half emperors. You are. Hearing Hua Yun's narration, Hua Ting was extremely angry. His eyes were almost like a bite. He cut them from the 3 people on that day. After a long time, he took a deep breath. His old eyes closed slightly and said weakly, tell him to go down. Hua Yun's deacon's post will be changed from today. He will be punished with 10 spirit stones and a salary in March. The other 2 will be the same. In addition, they are not allowed to leave their home for a month. In the frightened eyes of Hua Ping, a guard of the Hua family entered from the door and took the 2 out first. When Hua Yun arrived, the latter knelt down trembling and kowtowed to Hua Ting. Get out. You'd better not let me see you again unless you want to die. Hua Ting showed no mercy. With a wave of his big sleeve, a terrible force suddenly poured out. With only one blow, Hua Yun was blown out by Sheng Sheng. He smashed several walls in the hospital. When he landed, he was almost seriously injured. I have to say that this time, Xiao Yan escaped unharmed. Hua Ting was really angry. As the 3 elders of the Hua family, he was in a high position, but he was so embarrassed by a hairy boy. He not only didn't catch anyone, but also banned himself for 1 month. As the leader of the family, he was disgraced. Now, immediately, order someone to go to Shenzhen and inform Lin Zheong that bastard to go to me and catch the 9-star-and-a-half emperor guy. I want to consult him in person. Shenzhen, Lin family residence. Old and immortal, do you really dare to use my Lin family as a dogleg envoy? You Hua Ting did a good deed and asked me to wipe your ass. In the discussion hall of the Lin family, Lin Zheong's body trembled slightly while sitting on the main seat. With an angry face, Lin Ran threw a jade slip out of his hand. Seeing this, Lin Ran could not help but frown slightly. He came forward to pick up the jade slip again, then looked up at Lin Zheong and asked in a suspicious voice, Father, what's the matter? What did Hua Ting say? When he said this, Lin Ran frowned. Since he could make his father so angry, it would not be a good thing. See for yourself, that old immortal. When our Lin family rises up in the future, we will destroy your Hua family to raise the prestige of our Lin family. The palm under Lin Zheong's sleeve robe was tightly squeezed into a fist, the green veins were agitated, and the anger on his face indicated the mood in his heart at the moment. At the same time, Lin Ran below also injected a trace of soul power into the jade slips in his hand. Then, the information in the jade slips appeared in Lin Ran's mind exactly. After a few short breaths, the expression on Lin Ran's face also immediately became gloomy. In his eyes, there was a strong unwilling color pouring out. Hua Ting's move really treated them as running dogs again. According to the information stated in this jade slip, Hua Ting meant to ask Lin Zheong to catch the king beast of the mountain range they searched last time in the Bai family's field. Soon, he would come and ask in person. In addition, Hua Ting threatened that if Lin Zheong couldn't do this well, they would double the offerings paid by the Lin family this year. This is really some bullying. The Hua family is really deceiving people too much. How much did our Lin family pay for them in previous years? Now it's even a disagreement that oppresses our Lin family. He obviously sprinkles all the anger Xiao Yang brought him on us. Lin Ran frowned, and the look on his face was as gloomy as his father. He was worthy of being a father and son. He really looked like his father. What's the use of saying so much now? I can only bear it first. The problem now is that although the strongest guy in that mountain range has only the strength of 9-stars-and-a-half emperors, it's the territory of the Bai family. It's a little troublesome. Lin Zheong gave a faint cold hum, and his eyebrows could not help but frown. The territory of the 4 families usually does not invade each other. Even Hua Ting is unwilling to easily step into the territory of the Bai family. His Lin family is now just a subsidiary strength between their 2 families. If he steps into the territory of the Bai family, I'm afraid he will inevitably give the Bai family a handle. At that time, the two families will put pressure on him and the Lin family together, but it's even more troublesome. What should we do now? If we don't catch the beast back, Huiting will take our anger out of the Lin family. At that time, we will have to bear twice the salary and a white family. The price is a little huge. Last time at the auction, the Lin family had spent a lot of money. Now if they pay twice the salary, it will inevitably shake the foundation of the Lin family. Damn it, they can't care much now. The white family's field is so big that they can't take all of it into account. Besides, if there's something really wrong at that time, the big deal is to push the mess to Huiting. It's important to catch the evil animal first. In his heart, Lin Zheong must have taken back his mind. In this business, whether to go or not is the most important. If he can safely bring the beast back, it will be all right. If he is found, it is just that result. It's better to try and block luck. Then Lin Zheong set off and thought about flying away to the south of Shenzhen alone, which is the territory of the Bai family. At the same time that Lin Zheong left Shenzhen, a young man in white also saw this scene. Suddenly, the young man in white raised his eyes, stared at the direction Lin Zheong left, hesitated, and started to follow up. The Bai family has a wide range of fields, but in the eyes of the strong fighting emperor, it is just like that. At the speed of Lin Zheong, it takes more than an hour. After a long journey, he has been close to the center of the mountain below. When he came here, Lin Zheong, who had been flying forward at a high speed, suddenly frowned. All the way, he was busy on the road and worried about being met by the people of the Bai family, so he didn't make a fine difference. Nevertheless, he could feel that there was a faint smell that had followed him not long ago, although because of the strength of both sides, Lin Zheong left him far behind, but it wasn't long before he caught up with him again. Lin Zheong was surprised. He thought that the person who followed him closely would be from the Bai family. With this in mind, Lin Zheong could not help but feel a sense of killing. Judging from the smell, the other party was obviously not his opponent. If this was a semi-emperor of the Bai family, it would be a big deal to kill him and save him trouble. With this idea in mind, Lin Zheong immediately dodged into the mountains and forests below, gathered his own breath and waited for the man's arrival. It was only a moment, and sure enough, a man came quickly from the void in the distance. Just as he passed the void above Lin Zheong's head, the figure stopped and frowned. It seemed to be searching for something. After a short moment, the young figure frowned helplessly. A look of doubt appeared on Qingjuan's face, and immediately moved. This is continuing to fly towards the depths of the mountains. In the mountains and forests below, Lin Zheong's heart jumped when he saw the visitor, but he didn't expect to meet him here. At this moment, standing on the void, a young man in white is the young master of the white family, Bai Zhon. How could it be him? This guy doesn't leave home on weekdays. He even appears here. However, according to his appearance just now, he should not recognize who I am, otherwise he will be in big trouble. Lin Zheong breathed a sigh in his heart, but he didn't dare to relax. When he saw Bai Zhon, Lin Zheong didn't get up in the air, but chose to move quickly in the jungle below to avoid meeting Bai Zhon. On the other side, after determining to distance himself from Lin Zheong, Bai Zhon was stunned in the void, his eyes narrowed, and a cold light gradually appeared in his eyes. This video will end here.